did Auburn get screwed? Stick around and we'll tell you all about it. Plus, James Franklin has been fired, and we're going to be talking about this wild-ass weekend in college football, week 7. And as always, we'll drop our Nitro CFB top 10, and you can tell us if we're brilliant, dumb, or all of the above. This is the Nitro College Football Show. I'm Burl.
And I'm Streit.
Like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the best college football talk.
Yep.
Okay, so college football, week 7. Let's start with Georgia, man.
Yeah, we went live last night. We got a lot of our feels out on the game. Now we've had a little time to marinate. We've had, 21 hours to listen to Auburn continue to complain and cry. But you know what doesn't change the fact that either way, they had 40 yards of offense in the second half. They didn't score any points. As a matter of fact, Auburn didn't score a single point after the first quarter of this game.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize that. That's insane.
So complain all you want. Cry. Call didn't go your way. Tough. You were dominating the game. You should not have went in your shell. I don't care what you say. Auburn, you should have won the game. I even tweeted it out right when it happened. I said, Auburn fans, why are you complaining? Like, okay, bad call, but you're beating the crap out of Georgia. And seen a lot of coverage today. One of the best breakdowns I saw was Brooks Austin. And he said, and this is really interesting, he said he was standing on the sideline. He wouldn't tell who it was, but he said it was obviously somebody connected to the Georgia program. Looked at him after Auburn had gone up and said, don't worry about it. Auburn has already emptied everything in their clip. Ride it out and we're good. And oh my God, he's right. Like, Freeze went in and had, this extra bye week to build up and game plan and everything, and came out, and Auburn looked like a different offense than they had all season.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. His analysis was awesome. Just hearing about how Hugh Freeze pulls out all these things that he hasn't ran or shown all year that no one would have been prepared for.
Right. But then after that, they went back into their shell, into the crappy offense that Auburn has kind of been all year. And he's right. I mean, he's scripted up and they had these long drives, but they had to spend all their plays, all their cool stuff that Georgia hadn't seen or wasn't prepared for. And then they just went back to what was on tape. And for Georgia could shut that down, and they did. It's amazing.
Exactly. So let's talk about like the big question. So you've got a lot of people in the college football internet community, CFIW or CFIWC.
God, if they're as bad as the IWC, we are all in trouble.
So tons of people out there today are just bitching and moaning about Kirby Smart, saying, oh, he has no integrity, can't trust him, had respect for him before, don't now. And then, the refs, the whole situation about the touchdown that wasn't, because it was actually a fumble. When you look at all of the details, there are people that are professional footballers, Hall of Famers. Shannon Sharp last night broke it down and said, yes, the dude's arm was in Jackson Arnold's gut. The ball was already loose, and then CJ Allen knocked it out after that. So there was 2 punch outs, and the announcers totally missed the first one. They were all looking at the second one.
Well, here's the thing, bro. You know what? Whether he had control when the tip hit or not, honestly doesn't matter. You know what does matter? That they called it a fumble. That they called it a fumble on the field. And by rule, for something to be overturned by replay, it has to be evidence. It has to be distinct evidence that the play was called wrong. And as soon as it was taking that long for them to discuss, and the discourse online where some rule experts are saying, yes, it was moving. Some were saying, no, it wasn't. It doesn't matter. They called it that way on the field. There was no way that those referees on replay could have overturned that call. There's absolutely none. Because if they did, then they're rewriting the replay rule book if they did.
That's true. That's true. And
the thing was,
Brandon Walker had a great tweet that summed it up perfectly. Either Auburn got screwed out of a touchdown or Georgia got screwed out of a touchdown.
I didn't think that. You know what, though? At the end of the day, the refereeing was horrible. I don't think I've ever seen referees screw two teams out of a touchdown on the same play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it happened. Well, here's the other thing. The other thing was, all on the broadcast, McDonough and McElroy were all like, oh, yeah. And Matt Austin, they were like, oh, well, we think it crossed. But McDonough said in like the post game, he said that they talked to all the ESPN people in the production truck and everything, and they all thought it was a fumble. So, who had better views, all the real high def cameras that they could see that even the officials might not have had. Like the ESPN people who had the best cameras, not the stuff you could see on TV, like even better. They said they thought it was a fumble. So at the end of the day, like I said, it was a bang bang play. A referee made a call. And you know what? Georgia got lucky in that situation. If it would have been called a touchdown on the field, Auburn would have gotten the touchdown. That's all it boils down to. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't matter. Auburn was still controlling the game. They had no reason to come out and do nothing and lose their mind and get bit out of shape. And their coach is yelling and their AD is chewing out the official. Like, you're the athletic director. Get off the field and stop chewing out. Like, you lost it and your team saw it. Auburn gave up. They looked defeated after that. Hugh Freeze was about to cry. And when they come out, they did nothing in the second half in a game that you were dominating. And that's
what's so perplexing about this whole game.
Right.
Auburn was absolutely dominating. There was nothing that they could do anything they wanted in that first half. And they were stopping everything on defense. And they let a bad call just
ruin it.
Flip everything in their brain. And they just absolutely collapsed.
And Auburn's a good football team, and they have a really good defense. And with 2 minutes left in the first half until the end of the game, Georgia outscored you 20-0. And Georgia also missed a field goal. And Georgia also was the benefit of a bad blindside call that they ended up missing a field goal on that play when they would have had a 1st and goal at the 5. So realistically, it could have and Georgia didn't get a touchdown there at the end of the first half when they drove all the way down the field. So, yeah, it ended up 20-10, but realistically, this game could have easily been at least 28-10, if not more. Georgia dominated. Georgia wasn't moving the ball crap. They had 15 yards of offense before that or whatever. They ended up with 300-plus yards of offense. Like, it makes no sense that you as a team let a bad call impact you that much. You shouldn't. It did. Great for Georgia, but for Auburn people crying today, you had chances to win this game. You were owning the game. Bad calls happen. They happen all the time in sports, all the time. And this wasn't one that happened at the end of the game. This was in the first half. Still a half of football left to play. So, to me, I mean, I'm kind of over the controversy at this point. It is what it is. Crap happens. Georgia last year was playing at Texas, and they overturned a call that technically wasn't allowed to be overturned because people threw junk on the field. Like, come on.
Yeah, so that's something I do want to say, that Auburn fans, I salute you. You acted like normal, rational human beings after you had calls go the opposite way. And we've seen it so many times with Texas, so all the time at Clemson now for some reason. Tennessee.
Mustard.
Yeah, mustard.
Right.
I mean, so props to the Auburn fans for not being trashy, pun intended, and throwing stuff on the field. They actually handled it really, really well.
Just imagine if they would have given Georgia the touchdown. I don't know if they would have been too classy if that would have happened. But
I don't know.
the other piece of officiating in this game was the Kirby smart timeout, fake timeout, whatever. Kirby was yelling at the officials about the clapping, and there was an Auburn guy clapping. So he's right. Kirby said in his postgame he shouldn't have had to take a timeout because they were committing a penalty that he had warned the referees about before the game that they were doing. Now, was he signaling timeout? Yeah, because I think just in his mind, he saw that the clock was running out, so he started timeout. Then as soon as he starts talking to the official, you can read his lips, and he said, they're clapping, they're clapping. He didn't say anything about, I want a timeout. So he's right. If they would have gotten called for a penalty, he wouldn't have had to take a timeout because it would have been a penalty. And oh, by the way, people won't point this out online. Georgia actually snapped the ball with like 1 second left.
1 second
clock.
left, yeah.
So they actually snapped it. So it wouldn't have been a penalty anyway. That's beside the point. Yeah, did Kirby signal timeout and then he backed it? Yeah, he probably did. But it wasn't like he was doing it maliciously. He was trying to let the officials know that there was a blatant penalty that he had warned them about before the game that they said they would watch and they weren't. So whatever. Nick Saban's not here anymore. College football needs a villain. And what's the old adage? You either die or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain as the hero.
Die the hero or live long enough to become the villain.
And Kirby is now that. For a while, he was kind of seen as the hero because he was trying to fight against Nick Saban, the terror of college football that owned everything. And now that's Kirby. So it is what it is. Everybody hates him. Hate him. He's still better than you. So.
And you know it.
Yeah, you know it. So.
No, I love it. As a Georgia fan, I mean, this is where you want your program to be. You want everybody gunning for you, hating on you, because that means you're doing your job. Your team is winning. Your program is going in the right direction. The thing that's interesting right now, though, is Georgia's not the same team that they were in 21 and 22.
No, we don't have the depth. We don't have the experience.
But the thing is, everybody has the perception that that's what Georgia is.
Right.
And Georgia fans understand, hopefully by now, like the non-delusional ones.
There's very few Georgia fans right now who would tell you we think we're going to win the national championship this year.
Yeah. If there was one, I mean, tell me why.
Right. I think most fans, because we understand the 12-team playoff, think that there's a good shot we could make the playoff. But with the flaws that we have, the inability to play defense in the first half of these games, that's not it.
No,
roll
out there
against
not. Ohio State with that type of play. I mean, they're going to put up 50 in the first half, and you're toast.
If we do what we did this Saturday against Ole Miss, they're going to run us out of our own building. Now, can Georgia beat Ole Miss? Absolutely. But if we do what we did this past week and what we did at Tennessee, they're going to run us out of the building.
Yes, they will. They will, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And they've been preparing for Georgia the past 2 weeks.
And they prepared for Georgia last year. Remember, Lane Kiffin said after Georgia scored 50 on them in Athens, what did they spend the offseason working on? Practicing for that Georgia game last year. He admitted it before the Georgia game last year.
Yeah.
He wanted to beat Georgia. Kirby's his buddy. He wanted to beat him.
And that's what every team does.
Right. Because Georgia is the pinnacle of the SEC. Not as good as we were, but we still were the SEC champion last year, and we won 2 national titles, and we were the last SEC team to win a national championship. So right now, Georgia is still the pinnacle. No, we're not Alabama. We're not dynasty level, but we are the pinnacle. So everybody's going to be going for us, and that's okay. That's what you expect. So is Georgia the same? No. Is Georgia a bad football team? No, clearly not, because a bad football team wouldn't look like they did in the first half and then shut a team out in the second half. Wouldn't look like they did in the first half against Alabama and then shut them down in the second half.
The adjustments that Kirby and Schumann are making in the game are just above and beyond, head and shoulders better than everybody else.
This game is interesting, though, because you and I said that last night, but I watched Kirby's presser, and he said, no, we didn't really make a lot of adjustments. And then after listening to Brooks Austin talk about it, I don't think they really did make that many adjustments in the second half. I think Auburn had shot. They used all their cool plays that we hadn't seen. And when they tried to run anything like that again, our players were ready for it. They recognized it. We didn't really make adjustments. It's just they showed their cool plays we hadn't seen. And then, we recognize it now. Now we know what to do. And the players played better in the situation. So yes, I mean, Georgia is great in-game coaching. That's what Kirby is. Kirby's not he's not great at preparing. It doesn't seem like. That's never been the MO. Look, even the national championship game against Alabama a couple years ago, we looked like crap for 2.5 quarters. in that game. We played good on defense, but we couldn't do anything on offense.
Yeah.
That's not Georgia just doesn't do that. That weird national championship game against TCU is the exception, but it is what it is.
But
Last thought, go
tons
ahead.
of there's some good positives.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
To also look at. So one of the big problems Georgia's had this year is with deep balls. Georgia did great against the deep ball.
Yeah, you would like to not see Dalen ever get 2 PIs.
Well,
but
one of them was not a PI.
The one in the end zone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was stupid.
the other one was.
Yeah, but that was actually a good PI because he was falling down.
He was
falling down, and if he doesn't do that, he's wide open, and it's a touchdown.
And it was only a hold, so it was only 10 yards too. It wasn't even PI.
So that's a veteran player saying, "Okay, yeah, I got to do this."
Yeah. So positives I want to point out in this game. Number one, CJ Allen. We've all been waiting for the CJ Allen game. This was the CJ Allen game. He was everywhere. 10 tackles. He had sack. He had the forced fumble. He was everywhere. He looked great. That sack was awesome. And this was what we've been waiting for out of him. He was the best player on the Georgia defense yesterday, bar none. Another positive, Zachariah Branch. Yeah, some of those are screen passes, but the guy caught 9 passes, and he made guys miss. And yes, Kirby said he treats those screen passes like running plays. Well, so what? Branch makes guys miss. He's a hell of a player. People were worried, he was a 5-star because he was a great kick returner, and that's why he was an All-American. But as a receiver, he's just okay. No, his hands are good. He's caught good balls, and he makes people miss. So the development of Branch, I think, is great for the offense going forward. London Humphreys doesn't catch a lot of passes, but my God, he caught a 3rd down conversion for a 1st down and a 4th down conversion. Gunner likes him, and Gunner finds him open. So, like I said, some good things. We did try to get the tight ends involved. 9 passes to the tight ends, only three completions. And honestly, Gunner's numbers probably would have been better if not for 2 plays. One was the 4th down play that the Auburn guy looked off sides. They didn't call it. Gunner kind of just threw it up to Colby Young. Colby Young mistimed his jump. It was a great throw. If he would have timed his jump right, he'd have caught it. And then the other one was the one to Elias Williams down the sideline. He also mistimed his jump. Those were both good, well-thrown balls by Gunner. They were, back shoulder throws that the guys could have caught. So throw those 2 in. Gunner's got another 50 yards on his resume. Numbers look a little bit better, but overall it was a good game. Gunner's a gamer. He's not the best quarterback we've ever had, but man, he's good in crunch. And that's what this team needs, I think. That's the attitude and the the MO for this team. So
Yep, you're absolutely right. And I'm looking forward to this game coming up. Game day is going to be there, so that'll be fun. I really hope Georgia comes out and starts strong.
Yeah,
because you can't afford to get behind against an offensive team like Ole Miss.
Yeah. Well, I will not be watching because I am going camping with my son this weekend. So I will be in the woods. So my nephews are going to be sitting in my seats at the game. So hopefully they bring us some luck. And, if not, like I said, if Georgia gets so slow start again, Ole Miss is going to put them on them. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
So in conclusion, did Auburn get screwed? No. Did they completely implode and crash out? Yes.
Should Auburn probably have still won this game? Yes.
Yes.
But you know what? Good teams win.
Yeah,
they
and
do.
Good don't commit 11 penalties and have more penalty yards than offensive yards.
Yeah, and after the second quarter.
But. Yeah. Craziness. Okay. Another big news. James Franklin has been fired. So we can no longer say James Franklin is the Mark Richt of the Big Ten.
In the words from Anchorman, whoa, that escalated fast. From preseason number 2 to hosting College Game Day a couple weeks ago, sitting there being the toast of the Big Ten, all this experience, to losing 3 straight games, including 2 in a row to the worst teams in the conference, and then fired. Wow.
Incredible.
Wow. Just amazing. And to add insult to injury, Drew Aller got hurt in the 4th quarter and is out for the year.
Yeah. I feel bad for that kid.
Like,
I mean,
man.
I can coach that well.
$49 million? Shoot, man, you want to fire me? I'll take
Yep.
I'll take $250K.
Yep. As we say every year, James Franklin has just received the greatest job in all of sport.
In the whole world.
Coach.
Fired football coach is the best profession in all of
it is.
Fired college football coach is the best profession in the world.
Absolutely. Man, look at these coaches after they get fired and they have to sit out. They look like the happiest people on the planet. Look at Jimbo Fisher right now.
Yeah,
dude,
they all get tan. They're all hanging out at their lake houses or at the beach. Like, shoot, man.
They're like, yeah, I'll come on TV, talk some stuff, whatever.
Yeah, and no pressure. I mean, look at Dan Mullen. Speaking of Dan Mullen, we might have to have a conversation about UNLV. Now, I didn't even put it on here on the rundown, but they're 6-0, ain't lost a game. But yeah, I mean, what a great position. James Franklin's going to get either another job or a job on television. If I was him, I would take a year or 2 off and do the television route, because James Franklin's what, 54, 55? Like, he's not old.
He's a young dude.
He's got at least another 10 years in coaching ahead of him. So I would take a year, but him getting fired kickstart the craziness, man. The coaching carousel we are about to see is insane. Look at the jobs that are already open, and look at what's probably gonna be open. I mean, Oklahoma State's open. Obviously, this job's open now at Penn State. Florida, there's a good chance Florida might be open. North Carolina's probably gonna be open.
Yep. Virginia Tech
is open. Like, Arkansas is open. Like, these are big programs that have money that will be able to attract good coaches. And man, if I'm Alex Galesh, the coach at South Florida, I am just lining everybody up, because that is the dude. If I was picking to hire a coach right now, that's who I'd want, is Alex Galesh, because what he's doing down there at South Florida, their offense is awesome. I think they scored 60 yesterday. And obviously
I guarantee you that is probably number 1 on Florida's list.
Yeah. I mean, that dude's a coach. So yeah, the coaching carousel is going to be nuts. There's going to be even more jobs coming. Oh, UCLA is open too. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, that's true. It's
going to be open, and I'm already hearing some rumors about who Penn State might go after.
Stanford will be open because whoever what's his face, Reichard, not Reichard, whoever the head coach is, he's just an interim coach right now.
Right. He was just the 1 year.
Frank Reich.
That Andrew Luck. Frank Reich that Andrew Luck put in place. So it'll be interesting to see. Now there's some names already being thrown out there for Penn State. I don't know, man. Kenny Dillingham was one I heard today. I'm like, I don't think you're going to pry him away from Arizona State. But we'll see. It like I said, coaching carousel is going to be crazy.
You never know. You never know who will end up somewhere. I mean, whoever does.
The other funny one was Clark Lee, right? They hired the Vanderbilt coach last time.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
That would be really funny. That would be really funny. But, I mean, the difference is the coach this time is walking into a great situation.
You think, but man, they've lost like 10 recruits today.
Yeah, but I mean,
I know. It doesn't.
Same thing happened with Alabama when Saban retired. It looked like all the rats were jumping ship. Yeah, and they were.
Yeah, they were losing a lot of 2027 kids anyway. So
yeah,
I don't think I've heard too much about their 2026 class losing people. So.
Yeah, I mean, because Penn State's still talented. Drew Aller will be back, and who knows?
I don't know. Will it? How many games? He was a senior this year. If he's played more than 4, he won't be back.
I'll petition the NCAA and they'll bend.
Or if they go to the 5-5, right? If that ever passes.
Yeah. But yeah, whoever takes that job is coming into a really good situation.
Yeah.
Especially with transfer portal now, like you can rebuild your team exponentially
and it's Penn State.
faster.
They have the largest alumni base in the country, so they got money. That's why they could afford to pay $49 million.
Yeah.
Rumors were it was just whoever their athletic department's partnered with, Nike or Adidas.
How funny would it be if Signetti went to Penn State?
That's one I heard too. I'm like, I don't think he's going to go there, but who knows? He might.
Why not? I mean, but also, I mean, if he's got Indiana rolling and has the algorithm down there, why would you leave? I mean, if you're able to win a national championship at Indiana and you only have to play 2 hard games a year.
Yeah. So, speaking of Indiana, maybe that's a good segue.
Very nice.
Indiana 30, Oregon 20. Indiana goes on the road to Autzen Stadium and knocks off Oregon.
Who called it?
You did. You called it. I didn't. I thought early on it was going to be what I predicted, which was that Oregon's upbeat, fast-tempo offense was going to help them win this game, because that first touchdown they got was only because they were going quick and Indiana was all out of sorts.
They were.
But man, the Indiana defense.
It's legit.
It's legit, dude. After that touchdown, the only other time Oregon scored was a pick six. But after that, they didn't. Oregon didn't score after that. After, it was a pick six was the only other touchdown that Oregon got. They kicked 2 field goals. But they didn't score another touchdown after that initial touchdown. So Indiana's defense, like I mentioned in the previous show, they were the number 1 rush defense in the country last year.
Man,
they're doing it again, man.
Listen to some of these stats. This is what Indiana did to Oregon. 267 total yards of offense
for Oregon.
Dante Moore only had 186 yards passing. This is Dante Moore, who has been lighting it up, like and ridiculous. And 44
levels. That was on one pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and 81 rush yards. I mean, there's just a dominating defensive performance. And to do that on the road at a environment like Autzen Stadium, which is, by all accounts, is a very, very tough place to play.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I mean, that's impressive. I know some people are trying to put Indiana at 1, but be the man. You got to be the man.
Yeah, I don't think quite ready for that yet, but they are for real. No more of this. Oh, they're the cute story. Nah.
Oh no.
They thumped a top 10 in Illinois, and now they beat a top 10 Oregon. And they've still got some games left. They've still got to play Penn State, who we don't know what it'll be, but other than that, their schedule is not that tough. So I think
probably be them and Ohio State in the Big Ten.
I mean, yeah. Because based on their schedule, the remaining way, Penn State is the toughest game left in their schedule, and we know Penn State just fired their coach and looked like crap. So we don't know what that's going to be.
Well, who knows? The interim coach for Penn State might come in and they beat the shit out of everybody.
They could. But for right now, and just based on what I saw, to me, Indiana has a really, really good shot at being in the Big Ten championship and a really, really good shot at the playoff. And I am really, really impressed with the play of Fernando Mendoza.
Absolutely.
That guy's good.
He's really good.
And he didn't have a great game. He threw that pick six, but man, I was really impressed with watching him.
My only complaint is he has a stupid face mask. I mean, that thing is dumb.
I like the story they had on game day that the main reason he ended up in Indiana is because his brother's there. And so he transferred in and took the starting job that his brother was competing for. That's kind of funny. But
that's funny.
But yeah,
well, he's killing it, man.
I liked him. I liked the interview. Like, he's an impressive kid. Like, I knew he was good at Cal, but man, he's an impressive kid. So to me, Indiana, impressive. Like I said, I don't think I'm ready to make them one, but
No,
I think they've got the inch. They probably have as good a chance as anybody in the country to go undefeated this season right now.
most impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. Gosh, just watching all the games this weekend was awesome. I had the YouTube TV going, 4 screens. It was awesome, and
Yep.
I think this game was going on at the same time as Oklahoma, Texas, and I was just going back and forth between those. I mean, so much fun, so much
Yep.
fun. But yeah, Indiana, hell of a showing. Oregon, just I don't know. It seemed like Oregon just couldn't get out of the gate after that touchdown you're talking about.
I still think Oregon's a really good team. I
Yeah,
think they just
they're
ran
good.
into a buzzsaw. Like the same thing with Illinois. I don't think Illinois is a bad team, but Indiana just handled them, like put them in the ground, and they kind of did the same thing here to Oregon. Like
Yep.
it's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah. So long story short, Indiana ain't going anywhere, and watching that game alongside the Oklahoma Texas game was a lot of fun. So let's talk about Oklahoma and Texas.
So who picked that one?
You did.
Yeah. And honestly, this game played out a lot. The reason that I was picking Texas to win this game was exactly what happened. Mateer did play, and he clearly looked impacted by that hand.
He should not have played. He really shouldn't have.
He threw 3 interceptions, and Texas was so happy to have Malik Muhammad back, who got 2 of those picks. He'd been out for a few games. And Oklahoma's defense came into the game number 1 in everything. They put the graphic up early in the game. Number 1 in sacks, number 1 in overall defense, number 1 in scoring defense, all these stats. They didn't play horribly, but they only got to Manning once. They only sacked him once. And Texas was able to get its ground game going a little bit. They got 140 yards on the ground. And that was just enough to give Texas enough offense that their defense on the flip side played lights out. They had 3 interceptions, they had 5 sacks, and they absolutely harassed the crap out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, they did. That elite defense showed up, and they had a huge gift from Oklahoma by them playing John Mateer. I have to think that even if they went with the backup, it still would have been a better game. Would have given them a better chance.
I mean, there was one point where Mateer's hand was bleeding, and it was like right where he'd had surgery on it, like by his thumb.
Like you could tell the ball just wasn't coming out of his hand right.
No, it didn't look right. So, on the Texas side, after, all the drama and controversy over Arch Manning and the article that was written in the New York Times / The Athletic, it was written by Will Leach, who, if you guys know Will Leach, founder of Deadspin, but he lives in Athens now. He actually does a Georgia college football podcast. I've actually met him on a couple of other times. He's a nice guy, but he is very opinionated. And it was funny because on his podcast, they recorded like the morning that article was coming out, and he was like all proud of it. He's like, yeah, I wrote this great article and da-da-da. And and that was before the nation had crapped on it. So I haven't heard their post-game show that they recorded today. They released today. I'm wondering if he's going to mention anything, but for Arch, 21-27, throw a touchdown pass, had some really good plays. Didn't have tons of passing yards. They didn't ask him to do a lot. They got the running game going, but this was a much better game for him. He looked good. He looked comfortable. He had a couple times he moved around the pocket, made some nice throws. So maybe this is what he needs to get himself
He was
going.
still being harassed. That offensive line is still very bad.
It is still bad. Yep.
And so you got to give Arch a lot of credit for dealing with that and making all the throws that he did make. Because, I mean, that's a very high completion percentage. And obviously did what he needed to do. Got a great game from Trey Wisner, nearly 100 yards, 94 yards rushing. So,
which is what they were needing. That's what Texas needed.
Yeah.
Like they hadn't had it all year.
And Arch was able to run the ball for 34 yards.
Right. So where do these teams go from here? Oklahoma, we know what Oklahoma's got. They've got South Carolina next. And then they have 5 straight games against teams that are currently, as of this morning, ranked in the top 15.
Yeah, it looks like my prediction hot take about Oklahoma making it to the SEC championship is not going to happen.
No, I mean, even if Mateer gets back healthy and they play well.
Yeah,
this is just
that was with the assumption that John Mateer was healthy all year.
Right.
Because if he was John Mateer of like 2-3 weeks ago, just out there killing it, I mean, this game I believe would be completely different.
It probably would have been.
But that's how the cookie crumbles.
Right. For Texas, they've got a couple of easy games over the next few weeks. They get Kentucky and Mississippi State in a bye, but then they get Vandy and Georgia, both on the road. Vandy obviously gave them trouble last year and Georgia beat them. But, Texas, everybody kind of wrote them off early. They lost at Ohio State and they dropped that game to Florida, and lots of people wrote them off. They're still in control of their destiny in the SEC to make it back to Atlanta. So their schedule, this is the easier part of their schedule. I mean, yes, you've got Georgia and Vandy, and then you've got Texas A&M close the year. So you've got a couple of hard ones, but you've got Kentucky and Mississippi State in a bye coming up too. So if they're getting it together, if their offensive line improves and they get their running game going and Arch improves, Texas could get back to what they had aspirations early in the year, much like Ohio State last year, right? Didn't look great, but it could come together at the right time. So keep an eye on Texas. That Georgia game in November will be interesting either way. No matter how Georgia's playing, how Texas is playing, it could be an interesting one.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. Another interesting game was Bama Mizzou. This was a fun game to watch.
Yeah. Well, I was wrong. Vegas was right because Vegas is right.
Always right.
I mean, like
and Billy Bob
they know stuff. They got
Billy
their
Bob
mojo, and they had this at 3.5, 4 points, man. So, and this was a tie ball game heading into the fourth quarter. So Missouri's tough, man. And Bama did a good job. They shut down Hardy. We only had 50 yards rushing in this game, and I think Beulah had a couple nice touchdowns, but I think he had a couple picks, right? And Bama had to fight hard to win this game. Now, Ty Simpson had a couple impressive throws. There was a throw on third down that was amazing. So if you think that Ty Simpson's just making these calls and he's throwing these easy passes, go back and look for it. I think it was in the third quarter, maybe. There's a throw on third down, and it's just it's ridiculously good.
I mean, in my mind, if we were doing a Heisman list, which we should at some point, I mean, I would put Ty Simpson at the top, and then 1A is Fernando Mendoza.
Right now, absolutely.
Easy.
I think those are your front runners right now for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Simpson since that Florida State game has just played out of his mind.
Amazing. And this wasn't his best game statistically, but he made some great throws, and he still threw for 3 touchdowns. So
and 200 yards. I mean,
right.
He was 23 of 31, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's I mean, if we're playing fantasy football, I'll take that every day.
Right. So this was Bama. This was week 3 of 4 straight games against ranked opponents. We've talked about everybody else who's had these hard schedules: Oklahoma, Florida. Bama's had this tough schedule too. They got to face Tennessee next week. That's their 4th consecutive ranked opponent. They're battle tested, man. And you know what? And Bama did this now in this game. Bama did this without Ryan Williams at all. Ryan Williams didn't have a target in this game. He has disappeared from the Bama offense.
So someone tweeted asking, like, "Where's Ryan Williams? Is he getting his nails painted?"
I don't know. I don't know. Did they deem he was ineligible because he's only 18? I don't know.
I don't know. That was funny. But yeah, this is just a hard fought game. And honestly, I know Missouri came up short on this, but I think it showed that Missouri is legit and that they're not just a team that is beat up on a bunch of cupcakes over the past few years, which they have, but you have to do that to build a winning mentality and a winning culture. And you see this happen a lot, especially in the high school ranks, where you play weaker teams just to build your team's confidence and,
Yeah.
and build the expectation that when you walk out there, you are going to win.
Yeah.
And that's what you see at Georgia. And that's why you see Georgia pull out games like the Tennessee game.
Yeah.
Pull out games like Auburn.
Yeah. So, Missouri, they've got Auburn next week, and then they've got Vandy and A&M. So they've got a couple of ranked games left. But this should give them some confidence, and they'll see what happens next week when they play Auburn. Auburn could be the Auburn of the first half this week, or could be sad and lonely and given up. Yeah, like I said, like you said, it looked very good for Missouri. This was a moment for Missouri to kind of stand up, and even though in the loss it made them look better, kind of like the Tennessee Georgia game did, like where people, I don't know about Tennessee this year. They lost their quarterback. I don't know. They're just beating up on cupcakes, whatever. And then they looked really good in that Georgia game, and yeah, they lost, but that actually gave them a little more respect, I think. And I think Missouri, kind of in the same way, got that here as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So props to Missouri. I know people don't really care to talk about like moral victories, but I think this is like the definition of a moral victory.
Right.
And they'll be a fun team to watch down the stretch with those games that you're talking about.
Yep.
All right. Last game we're going to talk about tonight, A&M in Florida.
Yeah, early on, all I saw online was, "Oh, look, this is Florida just like last week. They've figured it out. They've got everything figured out. This Florida offense is unstoppable." As it was 14-14 in the first quarter. Yeah, it didn't go too well for Florida after that.
No, it didn't.
And
It did not.
A&M looked great early on too. They didn't play as well after the first quarter either, but because Marcel Reed was off to like a blistering start. He was like 9 of 10 for 160 yards, like out the gut, and ended up with 230. But you know what? A&M proved that
They're legit.
They are legit, that their defense is good, that their offense is good, that they are a well-rounded football team. They put up 183 yards on the ground against Florida. That's what's impressive to me. And I think they put up 300 yards rushing last week. Like, I know that they were always going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you add in the fact that Reed threw for 234 and they were able to put up 183 on the ground against Florida, I mean, what is that? That's 415 yards of offense on Florida, 34 points. No matter what you think about Florida, their defense has been solid this year. And look what they did to Texas last week. So it shows. A&M is a good football team. They held Florida 3 points over the final 3 quarters when Lagway in the first quarter looked hot, and Jaden Ball looked hot. They looked great coming out the gates. They just shut them down.
Yeah.
So
I mean, just looking at the stats of this game, Florida actually played really, really well. They had DJ Lagway had a really good game. I mean, the rushing game wasn't quite there, but where they got killed, they were 1 of 10 on third down.
there you go.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
you can't keep the ball moving on third down. You're done, especially against a team like Texas A&M, who, they prove that they are for real. And I'm warming up to the Marcel Reed hype train. I'm still not there yet.
Yeah.
He had a decent game.
Yeah. Well, they've got a couple challenges. So they've got Arkansas this week, which obviously, who knows? Arkansas put up a fight on Tennessee this week. Then they've got
crazy.
Then they've got 2 tough games on the road. They've got at LSU, and then they've got at Missouri. So we'll have a good idea about Texas A&M, but they're undefeated right now. And even if they lose one of those games and they've got Texas at the end of the year, who knows? So they're one of last 2 undefeated teams left in the SEC, so they're a challenge.
Yep. They'll be fun to watch. Gosh, the SEC really is loaded. I know there's a lot of discussion going on right now. I mean, there's always discussion about conference superiority and everything. But man, these SEC teams, it is a deep conference.
It's a very
it doesn't have the elite teams that say the Big Ten has with Ohio State. That's an elite team.
I mean, outside of Kentucky and Arkansas.
Yeah.
And Arkansas obviously.
And Arkansas can beat you on any given Saturday.
I mean, so what the other bottom teams in the conference? Mississippi State went out and took out Arizona State, like they're not bad. South Carolina, their record doesn't look great, but they were a top, just missed the playoffs last year. Like it's not a weak conference. It is strong top to bottom outside of Kentucky.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, you want to touch on these last few?
Yeah, we'll go through these real quick. LSU knocked off South Carolina 20-10. South Carolina continues to be anemic. What has happened to Lenora Sellers? I mean, I know he doesn't. I know it's a lot of the cast around him ain't been great. They don't have the talent they had last year, but
he doesn't have Rocket Sanders in the backfield. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, and LSU, I mean, they're in the top 10, but I'm still not impressed. Their offense is just so. It's just not what it should be when you have Garrett Nussmeier, you thought was a Heisman Trophy candidate. He's got 2 touchdowns, 2 picks in this game, but their defense is great. So it's one of those teams that offensively they could be great, but defensively they're pretty darn good, similar to Georgia in that vein. So they've got some tough games coming up. They've got A&M coming up. They've got Bama. So we'll see where they go.
Yep. And then you got Georgia Tech taking care of business against Virginia Tech. To me, it was a little surprising that Virginia Tech scored 20.
Yeah, but I think that was a late touchdown, right, to get it closer. I think it was 35-14 or something before that. Georgia Tech, their schedule the rest of the way until they play Georgia is nothing. They have nobody. Syracuse, maybe. They're playing Duke this week, which the line had Duke favored. I have no idea why.
Vegas knows.
I know. So here's a fun question. If you had to pick one, who's going to go undefeated, excluding the last week of the season, because that's Georgia Tech, but let's say through who gets to 11-0 if you had to pick one, Georgia Tech or Indiana, if you had to pick one.
Georgia Tech or Indiana gets to 11-0.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I would probably go Georgia Tech.
I would too. Indiana does have that Penn State game, but if you put that in there and you put in, Georgia Tech's got to play Georgia, and we don't know what Georgia's going to be, but it's a rivalry game, and we kind of own them, so it's interesting, right? I think out of any teams in the country, those 2 schools in Texas Tech have the most likely chance of going undefeated. Isn't that weird?
It really is. It really is. Yeah. So on the West Coast, we had a really surprising outcome. USC beat the crap out of Michigan.
They did, and you called that one, right? You said USC was going to win. I thought, Michigan was your baby, and I thought they were going to go out there but the USC offense, which we've talked about it a little bit, we knew it was good, but man, it's balanced, right?
It is.
265 in the air, 225 on the ground,
and they played defense. They actually played
defense. Like Lincoln Riley with the defense, and we know he can coach offense, and he really likes this quarterback. He's got Maeva. It's playing really well. So we're gonna know a lot about USC in their next 2 games. They got at Notre Dame, at Nebraska, and then they play Oregon at the end of the year. So we're gonna find out.
Notre Dame USC finally became interesting this year again. And then you got Texas Tech. They took care of Kansas. Looked like it was going to be close there for a minute, but then they just pulled away and took care of it.
Yeah. And BYU was losing most of the game to Arizona, came back in the fourth, made a comeback, picked up the win in double overtime. I still think those two schools are on a collision course for that November 8th game. Texas Tech, BYU, to decide, well, at least one part of the Big 12 championship game. But yeah, Texas Tech, man, they're rolling. That's all I can say.
Yep. I concur. Okay. Any other thoughts about the weekend before we jump into the top 10?
Nah, man, the season continues to instill the idea that college football just wasn't what it was. Like, you don't have the deep talent teams that you had, and at the end of the day, like, somebody can look great one week and they cannot look at next week, and even more so now. So, like I said, we've got a couple of teams poised based on schedules and how they played that look like they could go undefeated, but the way things are going, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I thought it was a fun weekend. Just great games. All happened to be on at the same time, which was awesome. But yeah, looking forward to this next weekend. As always, college football, greatest sport in the world. Nothing like it. And so before we get to our top 10, like this video, subscribe to the channel, be a friend, tell a friend. Be a friend. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. We want to know. Tell us if we're great or dumb or all or whatever. I'm going to keep
If you're
saying
an Auburn fan and you're here, yell at us. Tell us we're stupid. Tell us
tell us why we're wrong.
Yeah. But then you're just going to prove us right because you're crying.
Yeah. Tell us when we're telling lies.
Yep.
As CM Punk would say. Gosh, all the CM Punk references tonight.
A lot.
Okay, you ready for this top 10?
Let's do it. So number one, I think we're both on the same page. It's Ohio State. We said it a million times. They're Ric Flair. To be the man, you got to beat the man. Their defense gives up nothing. They still look solid. I think, no doubt, they're still the number one team in the country.
Absolutely. I can't disagree with that. I know a lot of people were wanting to put Indiana at number one after their win this weekend, which was a great win. But like you said, you got the national champs still haven't lost. So
and last time they played Indiana, they beat them. You know, like I know it was last year, different time, but Ohio State hasn't lost a game. You know, they're the only thing, you know, since last year they've been hot. So they're at one. Miami, keeping Miami at two. They still have the best resume in the country.
they do.
4 impressive wins. Yes, a couple of those teams are not ranked anymore, but they were at the time. You know, they've looked good, so no reason to drop them. Now here's where we get the shakeup. So we had Oregon at 3. We've dropped them down, moving Indiana. Good spot for them, I think. They've proven that they are not a fluke. We've talked about it. I think that's a good spot for them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's well-deserved. Huge win on the road. They've got 2 very impressive wins this year. I mean, putting 70 on any Power 4 team is impressive. And going on the road, cross country to Oregon, taking care of business.
You didn't hear them complaining about going cross country, did you?
Yeah. No, you didn't. Yeah. Casignetti, I mean, he's not going to complain. He's a cocky son of a...
Right.
So yeah, I totally agree at number 3. And yeah, I mean, they've got a clear path towards the Big Ten championship game.
Yep.
Penn State just fired the coach. Who knows what what they'll be like the rest of the year.
Yep. All right, at 4 and 5, and these could be kind of interchangeable. We got Texas A&M and Ole Miss. I chose to put Texas A&M ahead just because Ole Miss.
I think they have the better resume.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M does. They've got the win over Notre Dame. They got a win over Florida. They've got they got a win over. Well, that was Ole Miss that beat LSU, but yeah, I think Texas A&M's just got a little bit better. I think they have looked a little bit more consistent on both sides of the ball at this point than Ole Miss. But Ole Miss is a good team, and we're going to find out this week. So
yeah, and Ole Miss laid a turd this weekend against Washington State.
But they were looking ahead, and they did.
They were. They still somehow pulled it out. But yeah, that a lot of people were sweating in Mississippi.
Yeah. After that, I've got Texas Tech, who I continue to beat the drum for. They spent the money, and they continue to impress me every single week, offensively, defensively. I think they are a force to be reckoned with. So I know, Big 12 is not seen as good as conference, as the SEC and the Big 10, but they paid for the players, and they are beating people up, and they're pushing people around. So I think that's a good spot. With them being still undefeated, they are the lowest ranked of the undefeated schools here. Well, no, that's not true. Georgia Tech is right, but I think I think it's deserved that they are up that high at this point.
I do too. I mean, well, I don't know if I would have them above Alabama and Oregon. I know they're undefeated, but if I'm gonna pit them against either of those teams on a neutral field, I'm gonna take Bama or Oregon.
Okay. Like I said, being undefeated factors into it as well. They haven't lost a game, and they've beat up everybody. And Utah, who they beat, pretty good. They put 24 points on in the fourth quarter a couple weeks ago. If you didn't see, Utah went out and beat the crap out of Arizona State this weekend. So, and now I know Arizona State was missing his quarterback, so that factors in. But
yeah, their best player. I mean,
yes, but still, it was a beatdown. It wasn't just that they beat them. They beat them down.
The only reason I bring that up is because Georgia Tech is also undefeated, and they arguably have better wins.
True. Well, maybe.
I said arguably.
I mean, their best one is Clemson. I mean, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, actually. Yeah, maybe Texas Tech does have the better resume.
They've got a better resume right now than Georgia Tech does. And their schedule will be stronger as the year goes on because, like I said, they've got to play Arizona State. Yes, I know they said they just got beat, but they've already beaten Utah. They've got the game with BYU coming. So,
okay. I would like to move them to number 8 and bump Bama and Oregon up.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Because again, if they play on a neutral site, hell, even if they're played on the road at Texas Tech, I think Bama and Oregon would still win.
If in a couple weeks they play BYU and BYU's undefeated coming in that game, then I think I'll have a stronger argument.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
After that, yeah, Alabama, like we've said time and time again, I don't know what happened that first week of the season. This is a different Alabama team. Third straight week of playing a ranked team. They got a test from Missouri. Missouri played really well. Ty Simpson continues to play great. And this is what Bama we thought we were getting coming into this year. We thought they had an experienced team, and Ty Simpson's a 5-star quarterback, and he's proven it. So
it makes no sense. It makes no sense why they lost to Florida State.
No, none at all.
Because Florida State lost again this weekend to Pitt.
Yep. My concern on the Bama side coming out of the Missouri game is Jam Miller. Jam Miller, when he's there, he missed that Florida State game. When he was out, their offense is not as good, and he got a concussion, and he was having a really good game against Missouri, and he got a concussion. So, and he's already kind of had some issues. So I would keep an eye on Jam Miller. That's an injury to watch.
Okay. Yeah. Then you got Oregon losing to Indiana,
Right,
and
and like we said,
they still played well.
they still played well, and Indiana just may be a buzzsaw. So um, don't feel the need to drop them out of the top 10. I think they're still a top
Yeah.
10 team.
What was really interesting during that game is CBS, they kept showing uh, the stat comparisons between both quarterbacks, and for like most of the game, they were damn near identical.
And they were
it was
identical coming into the game
yeah.
too. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, at number 9, I got Georgia Tech because they're undefeated and they've got a good shot to go undefeated. And I think it lines up for them to not lose a game until maybe they play Georgia, and even then, who knows? Um, I think they're playing really well now. They continue to be the Haynes King show, but with their schedule coming up, they could go a little bit easier on him, and I think still, Syracuse will present a challenge, but they're gonna keep winning, I think, and I think they've got a good shot, a good line to make it to the ACC championship game. So that's where I got them at, and they're undefeated. So
Yeah, I agree with that one too. I think they've earned being in the top 10.
yep. And then at 10, I got Oklahoma. Yes, they lost. They lost, but it was a rivalry game. Mateer didn't look the same. He's coming off being hurt, but it's a hand injury. It's going to get better. And they looked so good when he was out there, and their defense still played good against Texas. They just couldn't muster anything on offense. So I still think Oklahoma is a good team. Now, we've mentioned their murderer's row of schedule coming up, so they could quickly
Yeah.
drop out of this list. But right now, today, they've got that good win over Michigan. Their defense has been great all year. So right now, I, I'll keep them there with the thought that Mateer will get back to being himself, but schedule's going to
Yeah.
dictate where they
See,
go.
I don't see Mateer coming back and doing what he was doing.
No, because the schedule's going to be too hard. I
The
mean,
schedule's going to be hard. I mean, he obviously got brought back too early this week, and I see that as more of a detriment to him in the long term instead of letting him heal for these games.
yeah.
So I I couldn't imagine if I'm putting OU up against Missouri, Tennessee, or Missouri and Tennessee, I I would probably go with Missouri or Tennessee.
So I can't put Tennessee ahead of Georgia. Georgia beat them heads up,
Well,
and
yeah,
I once again Missouri. Yeah, they played good against Alabama, but Georgia played well against Alabama too, and Georgia actually probably should have beat Alabama. Now, with take some points or whatever. So yes, Georgia's inconsistent, but I don't know if I don't think Missouri is necessarily better than Georgia. I don't feel that, and Georgia's got the win over Tennessee. So I couldn't put either one of those ahead of Georgia, and I just feel like Oklahoma's defense has been strong enough, and when Mateer was healthy, they were that good that maybe this was just a disjointed week that they rushed him back. So I don't know. It's a good debate, right?
yeah. The only reason I left Georgia out of when I was saying Missouri and Tennessee is just how poor they played in the first half.
But they
And
play so well in the second half.
I know. The more it was just such a frustrating game.
I
I'm
know.
still
I know.
angry about it.
I know. This will all
But
shake out in the next couple of weeks.
I mean, I just don't think Mateer is gonna come back and be what he was.
I don't know. It's a hand injury, man. It'll heal. It'll heal quick. And
Okay,
it was surgery. So
okay, I'll roll with it. Okay, so this is the Nitro CFB top 10. for week 7 going into week 8. Let us know what you think. Where'd we go wrong? Give us your top 10 in the comments or in the chat, wherever you want. We appreciate it. And that'll pretty much wrap us up for this week's show. Any final words of wisdom, Street?
Nah, just be sure to be on the lookout for our prediction show. Come out Wednesday night. We'll be predicting some of the big games coming up next weekend. But yeah, be sure to subscribe if you like this channel. Please do that. Also, if you're listening to this, you listen all the way through, you obviously appreciate college football. We are on YouTube. I don't know if you guys have heard the situation going on with Aaron Murray, but his YouTube channel got taken down and accused of spam. I can't help but feel that this was some pissed off Auburn fans trying to take them down. And it's really dumb because it's his channel. He's not doing snaps like he did last year. It's his own channel. And this is like how he, he's on YouTube. He's got like 30,000 followers. So if you can, drop a little comment over to YouTube, Team YouTube, and say, hey, Aaron Murray's channel's legit, and help him get it back. So
Yep.
That's it for me.
Awesome. And follow us on the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, for any clips. We're at Nitro CFB. Easy to find. And yeah, like Street said, tune in Wednesday for our week 8 preview show. And until next time, I'm Burl.
And I'm Streit.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.